always talk to people about the 8 ways to prospect, which I learned when I started. Past clients, sphere of influence, open house, expired listings, first sale by owners, door knocking, cold calling, farming. Picked some of those and did them all the time. It worked.
Brian Leonhardt here with the Leonhardt team at Cole Banker Realty. We're a team of 10 agents that sold over $55 million of property last year. Today, I have on our managing broker, Chuck Stout. Chuck has been doing this a very long time.
1979.
1979 was your first year?
First year.
Wow. So you have seen it all.
I have.
And I know that Chuck has this unique ability and passion, I think, for coaching people. And I do as well. That's probably my best skill set when it comes to being a team lead on here. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that today.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, I am passionate about coaching, probably because my first year in real estate, I did zero. And I was with a company that provided virtually no training, no coaching for sure, pretty much on your own to succeed.
That's a lot of times what real estate is. I think I might be passionate about coaching. One, because I like teaching people, but two, I played a lot of sports and I played football professionally, so I understand the impact and difference it can make. You know, it's completely. I think when it comes to my journey as a professional athlete, the amount of coaches that I had is staggering, actually, to look at it. But then you get into the real world, and it goes, okay, there's no longer coaches. There's no longer help. You're just on your own. You don't have, like, even when it comes to college, like you have teachers and you have an advisor and stuff. Yep. And then you hit out in the real world, or you join real estate and they put you in a corner of the office and go, hey, get to work. And you go, what work am I supposed to do?
Right.
But I think the first question I have for you is this, is like, one, what are the things agents should be doing?
Right. Well, I think it's pretty simple business, real estate. I know people get annoyed when I say that, but it's so definable. So really, probably the three most important things that an agent should be doing is prospecting, closing, and presenting. Those are the three fundamentals of real estate. And then if you look at the ways to present, I mean, it's defined pretty much too. I always talk to people about the 8 ways to prospect, which I learned when I started. Basically 8 ways. You know, your past clients, sphere of influence, open house, expired listings, first sale by owners, door knocking, cold calling, farming. That were the 8 ways. And if you picked some of those and did them all the time, it worked.
I think it's this common myth in real estate that you get your real estate license and people will call you. It does not happen like that. I think nothing is more apparent to that than for me, right? When you play in the NFL and thousands of people know who you are, you'd think that if you got your real estate license, somebody would call you. No one ever called me. Yeah. Not one time. I've never once had a call of somebody like, I know who you are kind of thing, or I like the fact that you played in the NFL. I want to hire you. Never once have happened.
Right.
The amount of friends and sphere that I have, right, that bought with somebody else or sold with somebody else when I was starting is a lot. And honestly, it should be like that. Until you gain a reputation and show that you do your job well, there shouldn't be too much of a reason for somebody to hire you. But I think that a lot of times real estate agents get into this business and go, oh, well, I know a bunch of people that bought and sold homes. It's like, that doesn't mean they're going to hire you, nor should they hire you.
Right. I mean, sphere is a big asset for sure. Don't get me wrong, but it takes work to convince your sphere that you are a good candidate for them to consider when it comes to buying or selling a home.
For sure.
So all of the 8 ways to prospect are work. And that's probably the biggest misconception in real estate today. People think they're going to come in and, like you said, you know, all their friends are automatically going to use them. Really not that way. And frankly, when I started, I wasn't really from Minnesota, so I didn't really have a sphere in Minnesota. So I didn't have 8 ways. I really had 7. And of course, I didn't have any past clients, so I really had 6. So I picked the ones that I thought made the most sense for me, and that was open house for sale by owners and expireds. It's all I did when I first started.
Yeah, that was, I remember vividly, like the first day I joined Josh's team, and I was sitting in my office, and Gail, our administrator at the time, handed me a sheet with expired listings and phone numbers on it. And I go, what am I supposed to do with this? You know? And it's like, well, call them. I'm like, and say what? Like, you know, like their house is just expired, right? And so expired listing, essentially, a real estate agent had it listed. It didn't sell. The contracts expired. And they get so many calls. And they are so frustrated. And they do not want to talk to a real estate agent. So I essentially went from, you know, playing in the NFL in front of 50,000 people to cold calling expired listings, begging them for me to be able to help list their home. And they don't want to talk to you at all. And they've heard this call 17 times.
Probably.
And that's hard.
Yep.
It's hard.
Yeah. Expireds are a hard ones. For sale by owners are hard ones. But all the ways to prospect are hard. So if you're not trained, here we go, coaching, if someone isn't helping you with that, then you'll have no success.
What are the 3 most common myths for new real estate agents getting into the business?
Common myths. From the outside looking in, it looks easy. So, you know, I try to answer that question all the time because I always say, you know, when you're outside looking in, it looks pretty simple. It's an easy business, but it requires work.
It's a simple business that's very difficult.
It
I
is.
think that's maybe what it is.
Yep. I think that would be the number one. Number 2, I just think people don't realize how much they need to know in order to be successful. I think you touched on something earlier about I got into real estate because I like the flexibility. I don't have a boss and I can, you know, work when I want. Okay, yeah, that's kind of true, but you have to work. Yeah. And if you don't have a schedule, if you're not working, then this is a very difficult business.
Agreed. So, what are the 3 things that make a really good new agent?
Okay, what I look for is self-starter. You know, someone who doesn't need to be told to. I always tell people when I first meet them, I say, look, I'm not going to call you every day and ask you, are you coming in the office or what you're doing? That it doesn't work that way. I mean, if you asked me to do that, I would do it. But I look for people who are self-motivated, you know, that are willing to work on a schedule and understand what needs to be done in order to have success in our business. I don't see people succeeding that don't have those qualities.
Number one thing they need to have is the ability and want to learn. That's true. If they don't want to learn, they won't be able to do this business. They have to have that self-motivation for sure. Yep. You have to choose a lot and dictate your schedule based off of when a client needs something and you making sure it's done. And 3, you need integrity, 100%. Yeah, if I can't trust you during a interview, your clients won't trust you and you won't be on this team. Yeah, and you won't be very good. So I think trust is the most important thing at all. And that comes with having those other 2 things in spades. That creates that trust. True. And it's not just given to you, especially now, and it shouldn't be in real estate.